We got a man who founded and is now the owner of Columbus Roofing Company.
Went from coal mine to then a gas plant operator, so I was running pipelines, working on compressor stations, like all natural gas stuff.
Why did you want to start a podcast?
You know, I always wanted to be like a speaker. I always just admired, great public speakers. And so really for me, man, it was, an opportunity to share my message.
You went from the business side and you found the people who knew how to do the thing. Is there any advice that you have for those people?
You just need to find the vehicle that allows you to do the thing that you love.
Backtrack. All right. Too legit finally going remote. Holy shit. Live from my house, live from Alex's house. We got a really, really special guest right now, boys. You're going to want to sit down for this one. We got a man that is a semi-pro hockey player. We got a man from West Virginia, the good old West Virginia. We got a man who founded and is now the owner of Columbus Roofing Company. He is the host of the Reckless CEO podcast, and he is a New York best-selling time author. The Homeowner Wealth is the name of the book. Go read it right now. And also, he founded and started a nonprofit organization, Foster the Future, which helps younger people become actual leaders. I think that's fucking awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, Michael McGovern's on the fucking podcast today. Yeah!
All right, that's the best intro I've ever had on a podcast.
Call me. I'm
gonna hit the ice again, man. I got me fired up, dude.
Yo, dude, he's gonna be like, Oh man, Mike. First of all, thanks for coming on, man. Thanks for being like our first like remote. You know what I mean? This is fucking awesome,
course,
dude.
Man. I'm glad I can get on and help to kind of pop that cherry, man. I know it's when it comes to anything software, you never know what's gonna happen. So
absolutely,
you got to retake and take again. You ain't got to worry about asking me. I'm good.
No, because a lot of our stuff is like in person. So I was speaking to Alex about this earlier, and I'm like, I wonder what difference will it be? Like nobody's in the room with one another, feeling off the vibes. But I'm like, I think we can keep it. I think as long as I keep my same energy, my same I don't give a fuck energy. I think I'll be okay. I think I'll be okay.
It's all energy. You can still feel the energy through the phone. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah, I feel the energy through that LED screen right now. I'm not even gonna lie. So born in West Virginia, right? And then how did this all start? You grew up in West Virginia. You're a hockey player. Now you're a roofer. Like, how did this all start? Like, obviously, it didn't happen. It didn't happen overnight. I know for a fact it didn't.
No, it definitely took a lot of time. But so yeah, man, grew up in Wheeling, West Virginia. I lived there whole life, and then throughout high school, started to travel, play hockey up in Pittsburgh, and different places like that. And my senior year of high school, I got invited to kind of come up to Boston and try out for the Bridgewater Bandits. And so that's where I met Connor at, right? And so went up to Bridgewater and lived up there I was in Bridgewater for about a year and a half. And then I went over to, just outside of Manchester, New Hampshire, played for the Northern Cyclones there for a little bit. Played till, going into my last year. First 2 years, it was kind of uphill battle, just climbing the depth chart. And then our last year, man, I had a lot of college scouts and stuff kind of coming to look at us. Things were moving. And then in our probably third scrimmage game in preseason, got hit, man, and got a severe high ankle sprain. I tried to play on it a couple times, and it just kept getting worse. So I ended up like asking coach, I'm like, at that level, man, like, once you go out, it's hard because everyone's good. You know what I mean? There's no room to be hurt.
Real talk. If you're still winging your business operations with spreadsheets and whiteboards, you're falling behind. FieldPulse is a field service business management platform that helps you run your business like a machine. Appointments, invoices, customer info, and histories all in one place. FieldPulse has got your essentials, and they have features you need as you scale. Click the link in the show notes or head to fieldpulse.com and see what real efficiency looks like.
This episode is brought to you by Nordeste Living. Luxury stays in Nordeste San Miguel, Azores. The upscale lodging melts away your daily stress, immersing you in tranquility, comfort, and breathtaking ocean and forest surroundings. For a serene escape like no other, visit NordesteLiving.com today. That's NordesteLiving.com.
I'm trying to play through it, and just, man, I just couldn't muscle it anymore. And so I, took a couple weeks off, came back. It was like Thanksgiving Day tournament. Stepped on the ice, probably played maybe one game of the tournament, and got hit, tore my AC joint.
Oh.
And so, so it was like back-to-back heart injuries. And so then I ended up going from Boston or Manchester or New Hampshire to Philadelphia, played for the Junior Flyers for a minute.
Oh,
AHL? So they have a junior team as well.
Oh,
so
okay.
just still Junior A. And then, man, I got, I remember because we ended up playing the Northern Cyclones like in the first game of the playoffs for the Flyers, and just smoked us, right? Like they ended up winning the league that year. They're a great team. And that night we got back, loaded up my bags, and just drove straight back to West Virginia, and pretty much was like hanging it up. Then I had a coach reach out to me. He was like, "Hey man, I got some, the Southern Pro Hockey League, some SPHL teams that are interested in you." So I ended up going down to Alabama, getting out the Huntsville Havoc, and then got hurt again, man. And it was kind of I just couldn't stay healthy at that point.
Damn, dude, you're like the Kyrie Irving of fucking hockey, man.
Oh man, it's tough, dude. So when I was growing up, I had human growth hormone deficiency.
Oh,
and
jeez,
so,
I am such a piece of shit.
No, you're good. That's a huge part of it, right? It was that I got put on growth hormone at 15 years old, 16 years old, and so my body, the ligaments and stuff weren't growing as fast as I was, because that shit just, you pop up quick,
Yeah.
And so my tendons, and it was all my joints and my tendons were just fragile, man. So it didn't take much for me to, get an injury. And so, moved back home to West Virginia, and I got no college degree. I've got no, work background. And so I just jumped in the coal mines, and I started, I was a coal mining for about 2.5 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So doing that for about 2.5 years, man. Went from coal mine to then a gas plant operator. So I was running pipelines, working on compressor stations, like all natural gas stuff. And one weekend, ended up going up to Columbus, Ohio with some buddies and going out partying for a couple days. And man, it was like, I remember walking out of the bar the night that we were there, and you're downtown Columbus, and there's this Nationwide has a huge building that like overlooks the city. And I remember just like looking up at that thing, and I'm like, I don't know what it is, but there's just something telling me, man, like this is where I need to be.
This is the
and
move.
Literally within like 3 weeks, I cashed out my 401k. I packed everything up in my truck, loaded it up, and then I had one interview in between. Doing door-to-door sales for AEP, going from making like $100,000 a year to $10 a deal. Moved up here and had nowhere to live. Slept in my truck for a little while. Became friends with some guys that I was working with. They let me crash on their couch for a little bit. Ended up getting an apartment, and then just kind of, just started building, man. I got into cemetery sales. So after I was doing door-to-door sales, selling electricity. Went from there to selling grave plots, headstones. Yeah.
What a transition. It is not
100%, dude. No, 100%. And I always say, I was like, man, they're just dying to come see me. You know what I mean? That's always my line there. And
oh god.
It taught me so much, because like I had to learn how to, sell to people on the worst day of their life, right? I had to, change your tone of voice. You had to, the way you comfort them, the way you talk to them. It's not, an aggressive sale. You have to really, connect with them and empathize with them, and, and have all that. And so it really taught me a lot of really good skills. Ended up, being a like cemetery manager. And so then I was running like 3 or 4 cemeteries throughout Ohio.
Oh, wow.
Then I got into real estate investing, started to kind of learn that, wholesaling, things like that, if you're familiar with that at all. And, then I got connected with a group of investors that wanted to basically, they wanted to get heavy into it. And so I raised $1 million from them and started to basically I was the operating partner. So I was managing the projects, finding them, getting them rehab, getting them turnover, doing all of that, and did that for about a year and a half. We get up to like 12 doors, all doing all like Section 8 kind of stuff. And the biggest issue was, man, we went to refinance, and because they were Patels, right? They owned a bunch of hotels. Patel was the last name. Their culture, the way that they had things like set up, they had all this money, but they owned nothing. And so now we go to refinance the properties, can't get them refinanced. We got $1 million in cash out, and the whole thing just kind of blew up in a sense, right? They're like, hey man, we got to sell everything. This ain't gonna work for us. Like we're pulling out. And I had like no clue what I was going to do. All of my money, everything I had done was all invested in this partnership with them. And a mentor of mine, next day, I'm kind of like spiraling. I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to lose everything. Like, what do I, this kind of thing. And I was like, I finally felt like I'd turned the corner. You know what I mean? It's like every year I've been going. And he's like, you should start a roofing company. And I'm like, I don't know fucking anything about roofing, bro. Why would I start a roofing company? And he's like, man, it's very heavy, like sales and marketing. You love to do branding and sales and leadership. And he's like, I'm telling you, man, like it's not as much construction as it is sales and marketing. And he's like, and so you already have that down, and you already have crews and people that you can do the roofs with. So he said, I'm telling you, that's what you should do. And that was in December of 2021. And by the end of that day, I had the LLC filed for Columbus Roofing Company. And the next day I basically started jumping into roofing.
Damn. So you were never a roofer originally?
No.
You were like, I'm just going to open up a roofing company.
That's it. I never sold a roof. I never actually built a roof before. None of that. It was just, I learned, over those years of doing real estate, just like learning how to build out, business, business structure, right? Departments and operations and just like all of these things. And so it was kind of the compilation of all these different things that I had learned between hockey and leadership and sales and business, that it's like when I learned about roofing, it just kind of all made sense. And so I just jumped in.
Hell yeah, brother. Holy shit.
Yeah.
I honestly thought you were like, I didn't know anything. I knew like, the semi-pro hockey player and all that and all that. I honestly thought like, I'm like, all right, this guy, he does roofing. He's like, he's like one of the boys. But now you're just telling me like, I've never installed a roof before. It's like,
yeah,
wow, it's crazy. Like how life is, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, one day you could be a graveyard, you can be selling tombstones to people. Then the next day you're building a roofing company that's worth like multi-millions of dollars right now.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and I think that's good.
Go ahead.
Thing that I try to express to a lot of business owners or people that want to get into entrepreneurship or start a business. It's like, you don't really need to know what all the things you think you need to know. You know what I mean? And it's like, I didn't know anything about roofing, but I knew enough to find good people, right? The thing with business is too often as the owners, like we're technicians or we're so ingrained in the business because like we know how to do it. We did the trade the best. We're the best roofers. We're the best, whatever it is, right? And that's good, but like that's not business. That's just the trade. Right. Yeah. So being able to know the business side of it and the trade side, very important.
Dude, so that's super interesting because most of the guys we've had on are like the technicians, people who are started off as electricians, people who started off as plumbers, HVAC, that whole world. And you kind of flipped it on its head. You went from the business side and you found the people who knew how to do the thing. Is there any advice that you have for those people who are trying to make that transition and kind of learn that whole world?
Dude, I think one thing is that, trades is something that I think there's never been a better time to get into the trades business, right? You've got AI, you've got all of these things that are replacing a lot of the office jobs and a lot of the, monotonous, mundane work that people have been paid good money for over the last, decade.
Yep.
Right. And, and now there's, it's going to be very hard to replace a plumber. Right. It's going to be very hard to replace a roofer. Right. And so, if you're a young guy that wants to get into business and the trades is where I think the best place to be is right now. And so, and to kind of answer your question of advice side is like, I look at it like this is, too often we want our like we think to start a business it has to be like this passion of ours, right? And it's like I think your passion can be discovered in anything, right? But it's understanding that, just because my passion is not roofing, right? But my passion is leading and in sales and, all the things that roofing allows me to do. Mm-hmm. Right. And so too often we look at it like, man, if I want to start a business, I got to love this thing. It's like, no, you don't. You just need to find the vehicle that allows you to do the thing that you love.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's very moving. Hey, totally off topic. This is why I am the way I am. How long have you lived in Ohio for, Mike?
8 years.
Okay.
So it'll be 8 years this December.
Okay, I just want to try something. I've seen it on the Pat McAfee show. Let me just try something real quick. OH. Yeah! Fuck yeah! I've always wanted to fucking do that. All right, I got that. Go. I got that out of my system. That's it. All right,
cool, man. I love it.
So, all right, Columbus Roofing opened. What's like the first 6 months? Tell me how the first 6 months was. Well, obviously, like getting it from the ground up. You have like a really strong marketing and like business side, but the first 6 months, how did that really like go for you?
I say for me, the first 6 months, it was, it was really like a quantum leap, right? A quantum leap is, for anyone that's listening, I don't know what quantum leap is, right? It's just like the compilation and timing of all the things that you've done over time, come together. And too often we look at growth as like a linear thing. Like it's like where I'm going to be in year 5 and 10, but it's not. It's exponential, right? It's like it's a compounding effect to a potential quantum leap. And so what happened for me was when I started the business, I knew that everything was about the relationships, resources, people, that's the game, right? And so I just started calling everyone that I knew from real estate and things like that. I was like, hey, I'm in this roofing thing now. If you need any help, let me know. And I got connected with a guy who was a claims adjuster for an insurance company out of Worcester, Ohio. And it was probably like, I think when I first started in December, I think we did our first roof in like February. So like our monthly revenue was like February. I think we'd done like 30 grand. It was just me doing everything. It's funny. Even when the first job I ever sold, it was a friend of mine's house. And I'm like, hey man, like, can I try this insurance thing out on your house? I don't know if it works or how it is, but I'll basically kick you back a fee on it if it turns out. So I end up getting this roof approved, go out, inspect it, have no clue, but it's cold out. So I send the insurance company the documents and they're like, approve it virtually. They're like, they don't even come out. They're like, yeah, you're good. I'm like, well, that fucking crazy. Now I got to find a roofing crew. You know what I mean? So now I'm like trying to find a crew, and I'd never actually done a roofing estimate before. And so I called the distributors that were local to here and told them, hey, looking for some help on putting an estimate together through you guys, like just bullshit and like really having no clue how to do an estimate. And they send a guy out and he like walks me through my first ever estimate, like how to actually, put the job together and order materials and all that. And so like, end up getting that job approved. So I think February we were like 25K. It would have been like February. No, I would say in like March we probably did 50. In April I think we hit 100K. May probably 150K. And then my buddy calls me from the insurance company. He's like, hey man, like we just had a like hurricane storm come through Worcester, Ohio, and our insurance is basically, that's our home base there. He's like, but dude, we're a small company and like 90% of the residents all have us for insurance. And like, we're not going to be able to facilitate this. So he's like, can you send me your sales guys and have them basically running the inspections for me, getting all the pictures, and I'll tell every homeowner that you guys are our preferred vendor. And that they have the choice to go to you. And so that in May, we'd done 150,000 in volume. On June, 450,000. In July, like 550. So I went from installing, 1, 2, 3 jobs a month to installing 30 jobs a month.
Wow.
And I mean, dude, it was a clusterfuck. It was crazy, man. I mean, everything was, all over the place. But that to me was kind of that like quantum leap, right? It was like, because once you hit that number, it was like, I've never gone backwards, right? So kind of like set that floor for us.
Mm-hmm.
And, but the first year is like, yeah, we go out, we do that, all this money's coming in. You're seeing, for the first time ever, I got, $800,000 in my bank account. And I'm like, this is fucking nuts, dude, right?
Like never happened. Like what the fuck?
Never right. I'm like, I'm rich, you know what I mean?
Put it all on black. All on black.
That's clearly, dude. And, the end of the year comes or starts slowing down. Or it's like, wait a second, like, we've got all these people that owe us money. Our collections were a mess. Dude, it was a disaster, man. I'd say, and then probably after our first, going into that off season, I was probably upside down. Right, I had crews that owed me money. I had, homeowners that didn't pay checks, and I had no clue. I'm just like trying to figure it all out. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, the first 6 weeks, or the first 6 months or 12 months, man, it was a disaster. I thought I was going to lose everything more than one time. But you just push through, man. I think the persistence can, outweigh the organization as long as you're going in the right direction.
Holy shit. In like 6 months, 550K. That's wild. Crazy. That's wild.
Crazy.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
What's like, all right, so going on the topic of the early stages of the Columbus roofing, what's like the one dumbass mistake you made early on where it's like, fuck,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that,
is there one that's like sticks out or not really?
100%. Yeah. I mean, I think, dude, honestly, if I'm the biggest mistake, I think was you give up a lot of your power to salespeople. You know what I mean? And because when you're a young business and you're just getting started, there's part of you that's probably paying for people to be around you because it feels good and fills those insecurities. And so I think that was probably the biggest mistake I made, was that I gave up my leverage of the business and, basically was just like kissing everyone's ass, dude. You know what I mean? I didn't look at it of like, man, they need to, I'm giving them an opportunity to work for me, right? Versus I was looking at it of like, I'm just grateful that anybody will work for me.
Yeah.
Right. So I was just paying out so much money to salespeople because I thought they'd be with me forever, take you to the moon. And it's just not really what happens. You know what I mean? So I think for me as a young business owner, it was just that, realize that you are the value. If you take all the risk, you got all the overhead, like take care of you first, because you can't pour from an empty glass. And if you get caught up in just serving and giving, it's like eventually they're going to all leave you at some point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's just like, take care of the house first, take care of yourself, and the rest will happen.
So that's like a big thing. Just like kind of like bet on yourself, put yourself first before you kind of get everybody else involved.
100%. It just happens when you try to grow too fast. You know what I mean? And it's like, you want to grow fast, so you go hire more salespeople. Well, now you have to process more and train more. And it's like, I wish I would have not wanted to be a CEO so fast. And I just would have started the business, sold jobs, took it slow, grew it over time versus exploding extremely fast. And then trying to there's a lot of little things that, as we got deeper and deeper into the business, that I wish I would have been able to have structured and set up better than having to go back and fix it all later. But at the same time, if you give up the growth, you probably don't make, the mistakes don't happen as fast. You don't grow as fast. So it's, it all ends up balancing out. But I think that's a big thing, is just be where you are. Be where you are as a young entrepreneur.
I like that. Be where you are. Put that on my forehead. Obviously, there's a lot of roofing companies. I bet there's a lot of roofing companies in Ohio, right? So, what's that one thing that makes you 99% better than them? Is it like, obviously the quality of the job? Is it your face on all these billboards? Is it Dude,
I just had this conversation with our team today at our team meeting, right? And I think and I'm sure there's other companies out there that do it as well, right? But one thing that I will hang my hat on is, I even tell our guys, I'm like, dude, put us out of business with your hospitality, right? If we fuck up a job, dude, I will lose money on a job to make sure that it gets taken care of the right way, right? Because in construction, man, it's never going to go perfect, right? There's, if you've got 99 problems, it's probably all right still, because that's just the game, you know what I mean? And so it's being able to, we like tell the homeowners, like, I had a job that kind of got fucked up this past week. It was just a disaster. Everything that went wrong could have went wrong. It was like the doomsday house, man. It was like, if it wasn't one thing, it was another thing. And it was just nonstop. And the homeowner was just pissed and frustrated and irritated. And, it would have been really easy for myself and the other leaders to, avoid the situation and just kind of point the fingers. But instead, my guys went out to the guy's house. I went out to the guy's house, and we, stood there and faced the music and, made sure that they're taken care of. And so I think that's really, to me, one of those biggest things, is that the character and integrity that we bring to the job is like, no matter what happens, like, I will make sure this job gets done for you and done right, whether I make money or lose money. My name means more to me than anything else.
Because that's a big thing, right? Where you want to, obviously you want to get the job done in a timely fashion, but you want to make sure these people remember you. So, you want to make sure, you take care. I feel like that's, a good, an underrated thing,
100%. Well, the thing is that, people don't realize it, but, for me, majority of the jobs that there was no problem, I forget the people. Right. The jobs where there was a lot of problems, I remember those guys, and they remembered me. And a lot of times by the end of it, we're great. And now they've actually got something to say, hey, listen, man, they're going to make sure they do what's right to get this thing taken care of for you the right way. And I think that's more powerful than it being perfect throughout the process.
Like the age of social media marketing and everyone trying to spend money and doing things on social media. I think back to the, just those relationships and doing right by people. That's the best marketing there is, man. Cause it's people, they remember you, and then they 100%. Go, and then they're going to tell that story to their friends and their families. And that stuff spreads better than any of this stuff possibly can. And we're a big proponent for social media. I mean, we're on there with the podcast and stuff, but
yeah.
Whenever I hear guys like you say that, I'm like, yeah, man, that is really the magic.
That hit home.
Well, I think the social media and all of those things they're the lubricant to the machine. Mm-hmm. Right? Your brand, the foundation, all of those things is what is the most important thing. And then your ads and your marketing and social media, that's just the way to make it all run. That's the way to get it in front of people. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, you can have great marketing and a great brand and all these things, but if your jobs suck and you don't do good job, you know what I mean? Because the mm-hmm. thing is, we're all installing roofs, so the quality of the roof is pretty much always going to be the same, right? Mm-hmm. There's give or take. But I always tell our guys, your process is your product, right? We're not selling roofs. We're selling you. You're selling yourself. You're selling the value in what you provide to them, not just a shingle.
Yeah. And that's a big thing, too, where it's not only they're selling themselves, but they're also selling, you. They're selling, your name, 100%. Your brand. So they have to, keep it pristine of hey, listen, mm-hmm. we got to make sure that Michael McGovern is the mayor of Columbus, Ohio at the end of the week. We got to make sure that we got to, you have my vote, buddy. I don't live in Ohio. I live all the way in Massachusetts, but buddy, I would go there just for a day just to vote you. They did it. They did the same thing with Joe Biden back in 2020. So, What is a reckless CEO? Do you drive 150 on the highway? Are you doing that type of shit, or is that reckless?
So honestly, man,
how'd this all start? The whole reckless CEO thing.
So I had a mentor that he's been a huge impact in my life, and he told me one time, so I also do some coaching and consulting as well. And so I help home service business owners build, right? Kind of really focus on CEOs. But so that's kind of where it came from, right? He's we're always suited to serve our past self, right? The version of you who you were is who you're speaking to all the time, right? So often we want to, be serving the people way out ahead of us. And it's look back, man. Who are the people that you were, right? Those individuals that, are going through that same kind of story, going through the same things that you were. And so really that's kind of how the Reckless CEO came up. Was I'm well, who would I be serving? Reckless CEOs. You know what I mean? People that, they might be unorganized. They might be, have no clue what the fuck they're doing, but they know how to get people excited. Mm-hmm. They know how to fucking be persistent. They know how to sell. They have all of the skill sets, and it's just being able to help package that up and turn it into a system that they can, scale themselves. And so really that's kind of where the Reckless CEO came from. It's not so much of reckless and abandon. It's the reckless pursuit to achieve your goal? You know what I mean? The thing that you want more than anything. Are you willing to recklessly and relentlessly pursue that thing to be successful?
That's honestly smart. It's that's a smart thing, man. It's like,
Thank
you're welcome. It's smart because like a lot of people, like they see like the CEOs that's like, you know, like
Perfect.
like, well, sure. I didn't get that. That flew right over my head.
No, I'm saying like they look at a lot of CEOs like they've got it all figured out. Like,
oh yeah. No,
you
dude.
know what I mean? Like they don't make mistakes, and it's like, to me, like I'm speaking to the motherfuckers that know they fuck everything up. You know?
It's like me and Alex. Like Alex is like me and Alex were kind of like what's the word I'm looking for? Not yin yang twins.
Jekyll and Hyde.
Yeah, like we just mesh well together. So Alex is like, you know, kind of like philosophical.
The yin
like,
and the yang.
Yeah, see, yin yang twins. I guess we could just fucking call it that at this point. Alex is more the philosophical, like, you know, he breaks everything down in his mind. I'm just a mouthpiece that just gets everybody hyped up, and it just works really well in our favor, you know.
Yeah. Have you guys ever read the book Traction?
No. And it's not because I don't read. I just never have read the book.
Look, check out the book Traction. It's all around the entrepreneur operating system. It's called EOS.
Oh, okay.
And the whole concept of EOS is that every business should have a visionary and an integrator, right? And that visionary is the mouthpiece, the guy that's getting guys excited out in front, big ideas. That integrator is the one that, you know, makes everything work. They put the pieces in place. They, you know, they tell the visionary, yeah, man, those are all great ideas. And they turn around and say, no one do those ideas.
Maybe that's why half of our ideas really don't pull through yet. Nah, me and Alex, we've known each other for like what, going on. God, I don't even want to say it. It's so long. It makes me show my age. What, going on for 15 years?
15 years? Yeah, I'd say 15.
Awesome,
yeah.
man.
What? Dude, getting old.
Long time.
Once you hit 30s, that's it, man. It's just. But yeah, me and Alex, we've been friends for 15 years. We did the podcast. We always stay connected. We always either did something, worked together, or, you know, we had this crazy idea of like having the podcast in like 2020. But then you saw in 2020 during the COVID year, like everybody was doing a podcast. Yeah. And we're like, all right, this is a very saturated market. Let's just not do this right now. We didn't really have our niche either. Like now we have our niche of like construction, blue collars, like business owners. But back then we didn't really have a niche. We were just kind of like two young guys that just wanted to talk shit. Now fast forward to 2024. We're two guys with a podcast. We're still talking shit, but. Yeah. We're talking about the good
business
shit. Business shit. Well, we're talking about business shit, but we're also talking shit. You know what I mean? We're talking shit. But so, why did you want to start a podcast? That's my question.
Yeah, man. So, I mean, I always had I remember when I was working in the coal mines, like, you know, I always wanted to be like a speaker. I always just admired, you know, great public speakers and podcasters and whatnot. And so really for me, man, it was, you know, an opportunity to share my message, right? It's like, I like podcasting, and like a lot of my stuff, I just do solo, right? And so like, I'll, you know, wrap the week up and I'll look back over the week and be like, all right, what the fuck happened this week? And then I just share it, man. And it allows me to, you know, one, it makes me a better speaker over time, right? Being able to put a message together, have a few talking points, and, you know, go through that. It's great for stage presence and stuff like that. And I just enjoy the conversations, man. I love being able to have these conversations, right? Talk to business owners, talk to people. And, you know, there's so many people that I'll just randomly that will message me and be like, man, like I love this week's podcast, right? And it's like, I don't even know they listen to it. I don't even know they're affected by it. And then I get something like that. It's just like such a powerful thing to be able to know that, you know, I think we often forget that there's people out there that, you know, look up to us and admire the things that we're doing, right? What, you know, our worst days is somebody's best day. And I think a lot of times we forget that. And so the platform is a great way to just share, you know, my wins, my struggles, the stuff that I'm going through, and then a great way to connect with other business owners, right? And so whether it's being able to, turn it into a lead gen opportunity or get business out of it. It's just a great way to get in front of, other business owners and a great way to help people.
Yeah, that's pretty. I guess we like our podcast is kind of like that, where like we just love. I personally love the connections. I know Alex does too.
Yeah.
I love connecting with people, and like from our podcast alone, we've networked with like so many people that I would never think in a million years I would ever network with. Like we had a plumber who's really popular. Like when I say popular, like he's kind of like a celeb. He's kind of like a celebrity, and like. His name is Matt Benavides. He goes by the Boston Plumber Monster, and we had him on our podcast. I remember the next week I posted the photo, like the behind the scenes photos. I got maybe 25 texts from like a bunch of my friends, and they were like, "Oh my god, you got the fucking Boston Plumber Monster!" And like I'm like, "Oh yeah, motherfucker. Why now you're gonna listen?" After that, like it just kind of took off. Like now,
it's powerful.
That's awesome. It's crazy how like social media can have that effect. You know what I mean? Just from like one person that just posts like all this content all the time.
Yep.
And they
it's
get
just being consistent, man.
Do you think that's a big thing though when you're in social media now? Like even like I know that you mentioned before when you first started your roofing company, it was a lot of like calling people, door knocking. Do you think that's still a good approach now? Or doing the content on social media to put your name out there?
I think it's both, man. I think that both of them are the keys to success, right? I think the social media and stuff and all that is a great leverage, great way to get in front of more people faster. But so often what takes people, I would say the thing that takes people the longest to become successful in business is that we spend so much time trying to figure out the easiest way to become successful, right? And that's what keeps us from becoming successful. And then eventually you realize there ain't no fucking easy way.
No.
Right? So the door knocking, the getting out, the doing the hard shit is always going to be the thing that will get you there, right? Now the social media and all that thing is a great support system to it. But like you got to go out, you got to bang knuckles, you got to fucking you got to hit the streets, like you got to do the dirty work. And every time in my life of running a business that I backed off my, hustle in that side and just focused on social media and content, I always lost momentum. And because I think there's a part of just like getting out, moving, talking, selling. It's just like it keeps you sharp.
I think it keeps you sharp, but then I think social media is like the easy part of the equation to some degree. It's like people can do that all day. It's really hard to go and knock on doors, man. It's like you face so much rejection. It's like people tell you to get the fuck off their lawn. It's just like you don't really feel that when you're, in the comment section of some videos.
Hide from it.
Yeah. You can't hide in real life. You can't hide from that, No.
And I think that's the thing, man. And like that's the, it is really easy to get famous, or not, I don't want to say easy, right? But it is, you can get famous by just being online, talking to people, doing all that, right? But there's a lot of people out there that are good at that, but they're not good at the business side, and that's been a struggle for me because as when I first started the business, man, our content was always out, pumping constantly, like it, that was a big piece to it. But then over the last 3 years or so, like, I've been busy, man. You know what I mean? It's hard to spend all my time doing that. And so, you kind of fall out of posting as much and all that. And so it's like I can tell that, like, I can tell just from our brand presence, like whether it's recruiting, whether it's social media, like when I pull back or I'm not doing it as much, like immediately can tell the pulse of the business is different rather than when I'm like out being the face, talking, doing this, moving, like, it just takes a lot of energy and effort, and you got to be in front of people.
So do you have someone that does your marketing? Do you have what does kind of like your team look like in-house? Do you have like a marketing director? Like what does that whole thing kind of look like?
So our org chart, right, would be, I had a COO beginning of this year that I, got rid of, so he's left. So I no longer have a COO, so I'm kind of facilitating both those roles at this point.
Are you guys hiring? No, I'm just kidding.
We are hiring. I'm kidding. I got myself, and then underneath of me, I've got a sales manager. He's got 10 sales reps or so underneath of him that he's leading and training and coaching and all that. And then I've got a marketing director who's over top of all of our marketing channels. He also is over top of the branding and content, media, and all that. Then I've got an operations manager who basically facilitates production, operations, ordering jobs, scheduling jobs, all of that kind of stuff. And then I've got a finance team, and then I've got a project manager. So I've got about 35 to 40 employees usually.
That's a lot.
Wow, you have a lot of people in house. Holy cow.
Yeah.
That's not even on field either. You probably have an army on the field, man.
So, and they're all subbed out. So
okay.
in the field, it's all subbed out. So the way that we run it, just because you have, we're only roofing for 9 months out of the year, right? So for us to in-house all of our crews is hard. And so what we do is we have a project manager that then manages the crews, right? And so they facilitate and handle all of that. And then we basically pay our project manager almost like a consultant. So the way that we structure it with him is saying all right, we know what our cost per roof can be for us to still be profitable. So then our project manager knows those numbers, and then he'll go get crews that can be under that number, and then he makes the margin between it. So it's up to him. However, if we can get a great crew at a less expensive cost and he can facilitate and help them, he makes more money. And so that allows him to kind of have control of that, where he makes $3,000 a job sometimes because he's got a great crew that he can, they'll go to negotiate them at a lower number, and then he makes that cut.
So when you were starting the whole business, what did the sort of team look like off the rip? Originally, it was just you, right? So what was your first couple of hires, and would you recommend people to take that same pathway as you, or would you have done it differently looking back?
No, I definitely would have done it differently. I think, and that was kind of what I was saying earlier, that when we first start, we want to build this big sales team, and we want to have all this, because we think revenue, right? We don't actually equate profit margins and COGS and net. We just think money, right? And so we think we got to get more money, which is good. But as you go, you realize being able to save the money and I'd rather do 10 million and have a 30% profit margin than doing 20 million at 10. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so for me, when I first started, it was come in, hire sales guys. Then I got a production operations person that came in, and they ran that. But for me, I would say, and this is the first year we've even had a sales manager. I've had a couple in the past, but it didn't really work out. And I've had a couple other, people inside of it that, we moved around. But as a, roofing, you can run super lean. And it's really easy to allow your company to kind of get that bloat, and you're just we don't know how to do something, we're going to go hire this person. And it's I always say now, it's fix the system before you fix the people. Because a lot of times we just strap a Band-Aid on it by bringing in somebody else, and it's just more overhead, right? And so I think anyone, starting a roofing company per se, it's your first hire needs to be production operations, right? Your first hire needs to be somebody that can order materials, schedule jobs, administrative work, talk to people, because you're, as a salesperson, as a leader, you're going to be that number one salesperson anyway. So don't try to delegate that too fast. And so you just need to sell, build the system off the way that you sell, and then have somebody that can just catch all your shit so that it doesn't blow up behind you. And
then how regularly do you kind of meet with that person? How do you sort of make sure that everything's kind of going the way you want it to?
Yeah, so we have on every Monday we do an all teams meeting. So all the guys are in the office. That's the full team, reviewing numbers and goals and KPIs, all of that. And then on Tuesday we do our leadership meeting. So that's all of our leaders. That's the PM. That's our operations. That's production, sales manager, marketing. So we all have that on Tuesday. And then every week I have a one-on-one with each of my leaders. Right. So it's saying all right, what's our goal this month or goal this quarter? Everything that we do revolves around, everyone in alignment with those goals.
Yeah. So Mike, for us, I think the majority of our listeners and kind of at least the early people that kind of started with the podcast, they were more on kind of the operations side, more technical aspect. Yeah. Is there any sort of advice or anything you can give to those people for learning the sales and the leadership aspect of it? Because I think a lot of them think it's just oh, I go to the job, I do the job, and then I have to do all this stuff behind the scenes. But listening to what you're saying, it's no, man, it's the most important aspects are more the sales and the leadership. So is there anything you can kind of talk to around that?
No, that's a great question, man. I think so often when we hear CEO, right, or founder, we think that we've got to be a certain way, right? And to me, if I look at a CEO, like a CEO is going to be the best storyteller in the business. They're going to be a good leader. They're going to be, probably a really good salesperson because you've got to sell people on shit. And so a lot of times, like, especially in, the trades work is that, a guy wants to start a business and they've been a technician, the whole time, right? They know how to do the job well. And so, but then they think that they have to go become something else to be able to grow it, right? Where a lot of times it might be like, hey, like, go hire that visionary. Right? If you're already good at the production operations of it, don't try to be the salesperson. Try to be really great at production and ops and go find, bring in the CEO or bring in a visionary or go find somebody that can, does have the vision, does have the, the same, alignment there. And so, I just happen to be very wired visionary CEO, that kind of seat. And so I had to go find the person that could produce it and operate it and make sure it's good. But a lot of times if you're in that operations seat, like you just need to go find the person that can, sell the dream for people. Like you got to get them sold and then, let them sell, man. And, on the other side from the, the culture and the leadership side, I think it's good to obviously have a background in the business so you can understand it, so you know what's going on. But at the end of the day, man, like business is simple, right? People are complicated.
Right.
Right. And that is the key is that, when you want to grow a business, it's like, we're always trying to do more. We're trying to change and grow. And it's like simplicity is scale. Right. And so it's like your goal needs to be like, how can you make it as simple as possible? You don't need it's about teaching old people the same thing, right? Or new people the old thing. Like we don't need to be getting crazy. It's like think about as a founder and owner, like, reflect and be like, what is it that I'm really good at? Right. Because a lot of times because we're really good at something and it's effortless to us, we don't think that people get value from it. Right. And so the same thing that might be easy for me to do might be hard for you, but I don't feel it's easy. I don't feel like it's anything. Right. And so one thing that when I was starting my business, man, it was like, they loved me, running weekly meetings and the coaching and the mentorship and, all the things that I love to do more than anything. Right. Speaking to the guys, creating trainings but over a while, I'm like, this isn't, this isn't valuable to them, man. They don't want this, they've had enough of me kind of thing. But it was untrue. You know what I mean? Like that's every time I do a quarterly review, it's always like, we wish you coached more. We wish you talked more. Right. And it's but to me, it doesn't feel like it actually gives me energy. It doesn't take any from me. So it doesn't feel like it's anything. And so when you're a business owner or a founder, it's like, what is the thing that you do the best, right? And really figure out how you can, ingrain that into your people, into your culture, into the business and the systems that you have.
I love that, man. And even to go all the way back to the beginning again, it's so if you're kind of the operator, you sort of said the advice is to kind of, if you're not the visionary leader, to go find that person to kind of help facilitate like the holes that you have essentially.
For sure, man.
In your business, are you like a solo owner or do you have like partners that kind of help like your blind spots or any of that sort of stuff?
So it's just me. I'm a solo owner. I've had I'm a solo owner, but I've got a portion of equity set aside. So I give my, top leaders a percentage of equity into the company, right? So now they have some skin in the game.
Right.
And my COO that was with me, I actually was gonna, we were working out a way for him to, earn equity, coming in. It didn't happen. He's no longer with us, but I would say it's not necessarily by choice. Like there's been times where last year we tried to buy a window company and, that owner would have been basically the operator and the production side of my business. I was going to run, we were going to kind of bring them together. And so, I've tried to kind of potentially bring on some partners, but, they always say, man, the only ship that never sails is a partnership. So, it's, you just gotta be careful with it, and because you don't realize how, when your business isn't our goal is to sell the company one day, right? My goal is to scale it and sell it, exit, whether I exit and stay on or go acquire more companies, whatever it is. But my goal is eventually to sell the business one day. And, giving away equity right now, I'll give you 10%. It feels like nothing, but when you're looking at $100 million valuation, that 10% is big, right? And so, for owners, like if you're looking and thinking about maybe growing a business to sell it one day, like just be very cautious of the people that you bring in and you want to give percentages to, because right now it doesn't feel like it's anything, but when it is something, you might regret it.
Let's take a second to talk tools. Not power tools, but business power tools. FieldPulse is one of those game changers for contractors. We told you earlier that it helps manage schedules, customers, estimates, but there's so much more. Build your workflows the way you want to. Automatically send texts or emails to customers like when you're on the way or if an invoice's due date is coming up. Whether you're in plumbing, HVAC, electrical, you name it, FieldPulse is built to work like you do. Head to fieldpulse.com right now to get started growing your business. Website in the show notes. That's fieldpulse.com. FieldPulse.com.
Absolutely. So to that kind of original operator who's like that plumber, that HVAC guy, that carpenter who's looking to start the business, rather than bringing a partner in because, that can get kind of messy, like you were saying, is it kind of, so the route you kind of went is like having sort of managers beneath you who kind of facilitate aspects of the business, and then you kind of oversee them. Is that kind of like a good play? So for like that HVAC guy, plumber, they try to, what role would they be kind of hiring for to kind of help facilitate would it be like a sales manager? Is that like the sort of?
I look at this, man. If you look at business, just kind of simplify it, right? I call it the MOSS method, MOSS, right? And that's my business breakdown, right? I look at it as marketing, operations, sales, and service, right? Like, so that's really the skin it down to simplicity. That's your 4 departments in a business, right? You got a marketing channel, your operations channel, your sales channel, and fulfillment, customer service, right? Like administrative, however you want to say it, right? But so to me, it's saying, as a business owner starting out, first off, it's like, think about the, what's going to be your quickest way to money, right? At the end of the day, everything we're doing is to make fucking money.
Yeah.
Right. We forget that a lot of times when we're in business, and you got to make sure that's the number one thing. And so what are the things that you have to have in order to scale, and what are things that you can acquire along the way? So for me, if I'm starting out, like marketing, like not a priority, right? Like it is over time, but in the beginning, you can knock doors, you can cold call, you can go find other businesses to partner with and offer affiliate programs. Like there's a lot of things that you can do for marketing. It's not going to cost you anything. Then I look at, the operations side, that to me is a very important part, right? And I would be looking for, if I'm that founder, I would be looking for like even an executive assistant. Right? Because if you can go find a great executive assistant, they can essentially be administrations, operations, production, right? They can facilitate a lot of those things and allow you to stay in the lane that you're in without getting overwhelmed and sidetracked. Because you've got to find somebody that can kind of take that relief off of you a little bit so that you can start doing the other pieces, right? And then I would say after you kind of got that seat, then it's like, all right, now let's start looking at, your fulfillment side, or if you're bringing on crews, or can you outsource that? Can you 1099 that, right? It's like a young business owner, you need to stay as lean as possible for as long as possible, because, once you got overhead, man, everything changes.
I love that.
All right. Alex, when Alex goes on a tear, I just kind of just sit back and just let him do his thing. You know what I mean? I'm like, I know he's cooking, because right around this time, he usually it's like a
opens up.
I see him as rice. All right, I see him as rice. It's simmering in the beginning, right? It's not even really cooked. It's still hard, and then all of a sudden he just opens up, and he's just rapid boil, rapid fire, and it just comes to him, and he's like this tasty white rice or brown, whatever you fucking prefer.
Yeah.
But when Alex talks like that, it's really good, because this is why we kind of mesh well together. He asks the questions I would never even think about asking. You know, I ask what's your favorite color, and he's like, hey,
that's important too.
But I guess going back to the whole people that you work with and everything like that, you have so many different personalities in that room, right? When you're doing the team meeting, what's the biggest the biggest philosophy thing that you can kind of get them all on the same page? You know what I mean? Obviously, it's oh, hey, like, we want to do good, so that way the company gets money, so that way we get a paycheck at the end of the week. But
Yeah.
there's got to be something more to that. You know what I mean? There's got to be a message.
Yeah, man. So, for us, like if our, like, our, you can call it our, your mission or purpose, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that, what we say is that our goal is to, enhance every property and improve every life we touch, with the promise to always leave things better than we found it. Right. And so you look at that, whether that's on, doing a job, you want to leave it better than you found it. You want to enhance it, or a life, whether you're improving somebody's life, coaching them, growing them, and just trying to always leave people better than you found them. I think like you just stick to that. That's a pretty, it's clear. And another thing, man, is acronyms. Right. I use a lot of acronyms, right? I'm constantly, coming up with different things that, for us, we have like the CRC way, right? So I teach everything in just letters pretty much, right? So for us, the CRC way means confident, reliable, consistent, right? So, and then we have like the 4 C's of commitment, which is customers, community, culture, and what's my other one here? What I got? Customers, community. What's that last one? Company and culture, right? And so it's like, and that's how we operate with it, right? Customers are number one. Community, you got to improve it all time. Company, if the company don't exist, none of this shit exists. Right. And culture, you got to have your team, you got to have your people. And so, I try to always kind of break things down into a simple way to remember it.
That's a big thing, though, within the company. Is like you got to have that culture. You know what I mean?
You have to.
I hear that a lot. Like, people like, the company culture, this, that. That's definitely a pivotal factor where it's like, if the company culture is not there, like, or like, you have this like mission, and then, you hire these people, they don't believe in that. So like, the walls start tearing down, then the culture's gone.
Dude, culture is one of those things where you can't measure it when it's doing well, right? You can't necessarily say it's making me $100 million a year,
Mm-hmm.
right? But it's creating a loss when it's not doing well, right? Because you can see it, you can feel it, man. This year I say this year is probably my hardest year of business.
Oh no, sure.
Man, I just had the way that I thought the year was going to go compared to the way it went has been in opposite directions. But at the same time, man, it has built. We're better. We've got a better foundation. We got a better team. But just like I was saying in the beginning, I'm just not. Don't sacrifice yourself to salespeople, right? Because we think that these people, we need them, that they're going to be here forever, and they're just not. That's not the way they go. That's not how salespeople operate, And coming into this year, man, I had a stack of guys that had been with me for a couple years, and some things happened, and a couple of them leave, and this and that, and I got to this point where I'm looking at our team, and I've got these guys that are new. They're trying to get ingrained in the system. I got a leader that's like here every day, showing up, coaching guys, teaching guys, leading guys, and then I got my top sales guy who's not coming to anything. Right? He's he's basically just doing his own thing and turning checks in. And as an owner, it's like you need the checks. You want to. You allow it, right? You allow these things to happen. And I got to the point where I look around and I'm like, man, this ain't the business I'm running, dude. Like, I know for a fact, in order to be successful, you got to be disciplined, you got to be committed, you got to fucking show up for your team. So it's no different than a fucking sports team, man. It's like, if you got one guy that's cutting corners and everyone's going to think that's okay, and eventually, so I hit this point and I'm like, hey man, like, I got to let you go. You're fired, bro. Fired our number one guy. Got to let him go, because I realized that I was sacrificing our future self for the current self, right? I was sacrificing the development and growth of people that are in alignment with our culture for like right now money. And it's easy to catch yourself doing that.
Do you think that's a big thing though for like business owners, where like when, like, say, let's say a business owner, he's not disciplined, he'll fuck around with his money, like, every single paycheck he gets, he'll just spend it on like stupid shit, like the casino or something. Do you think that's like a pivotal factor of a make or break, where business owners can either be successful after 6 months or fold after 6 months? The whole discipline 100%. Thing going back, right?
100%. I mean, it's everything, man. You gotta. especially as the owner, man, that's the biggest thing, is that you've always got, they say that leadership is caught, not taught, right? Like leadership is seen, right? It's the way that you show up. It's the things that you do. It's the way you carry yourself.
It's the little things.
It's like parenting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like your kids are always watching. And so if you are a parent that's doing all the bad things, it's like eventually your kids are going to see that, and they're going to end up the same damn way.
Your kids are going to be a piece of shit, is what they're
right, right, man. And it's in leadership is a lot like that in business, man. It's, as an owner, it's like, dude, you do eat last. You know what I mean? You got to take care of people. You got to put yourself in the back seat. And the thing is you have to, and it's not a forever thing. But in the beginning, man, like, for our first 2 or 3 years, like, I was taking a minimum salary. I was selling, not taking money from my deals, putting it back in the business. I was just reinvesting everything in people and resources, and, and not taking anything. But there's also a fine line there too, because I probably overdid it. You know what I mean? It was like, in my mind, I'm like, I got to suffer so everybody else can make it, where I'm like, if I wouldn't put myself in that position, I'd probably, be more excited to lead. I'd probably be, wanting to, and not be exhausted and stressed about all of those things.
Again, going back to that, obviously you've taken hits this year. What's like that one thing that keeps you mentally so wanted to do this? Obviously, there's definitely times where it's like, oh fuck, I thought this year was going to be my year. Now nothing's going my way. Did you? Well, this is a 2-part question. First part question is obviously this year or any year where it's really you were struggling really bad. The thought of quitting, did that ever come to you or no?
Dude, I think we'd all be lying if we said it didn't come to every one of us every day at least one point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But that's the thing, man, is that, and it's a development thing that you can't control a feeling. Right? You can control your action. You can control what you do with the feeling, but you can't control what stems up inside you and makes you feel a certain way. And I think a great leader is able to, separate a feeling from action, right? And so it's like, I might feel like I want to fucking quit and give all this shit up, but that doesn't mean I'm going to do it. It's just being aware of that. Hey, man, I don't want to fucking do this anymore, man. I want to fucking quit. There's been plenty of times when payroll's due in 24 hours and I got 150 grand going out and I got 10 grand in the account. And I'm like, I don't know how the fuck this is going to work out. I don't know what's going to fucking happen, dude. You know what I mean? But that's the, I think then that's the biggest separator between the people that can be successful and the people that can't, is that, can you withstand the pressure, right? What is your pain threshold? Because that's going to be tested. And in leadership and business, it's like, all right, you can put yourself first, go spend all this money, do whatever you want. But when the pressure's on you, can you do the right thing? Can you show up? Can you? Because there's been days where I'm like, I don't know if anyone's getting a paycheck, and I got to come in and be fired up, and I got to lead, and I got to be excited, and I can't show up like that version that is insecure and scared and wants to quit, because the second you do, everybody else in that room sees it, right? And it's like a shark smelling blood. And, when that happens, dude, the chaos can erupt, right? And so it's like, you've got to be strong and you've got to be so sold on the vision and so sold on what you're doing that you can convince everybody around you that even when you're going through the pain, going through the struggle, that it's all worth it.
Damn.
Man, that's a lot to have on your shoulders right there.
Again, going now, the second part of the question, so much on your shoulders, right? Obviously you're the CEO of Columbus Roofing, you're managing all these people and everything like that. How the hell do you say mentally focus on that? How do you treat your mental health? Because that's a lot. That's a lot, Mike.
It is a lot. It is a lot, man. And I think that it's capacity is something that you just gain over time, right? When I look back at 3-4 years ago, if I was, going through the problems and the shit that happens now, dude, I'd have probably tapped out, right? Because it's like, it never gets easier. You just get stronger and you get better and you have the ability to control more. You realize that nothing's really that serious. You realize that, even if everything goes belly up and you got to restart again, that you're never starting from zero, right? You're always starting with experience now. And so all these things that you've kind of gained and acquired along the way. Man, I got a girlfriend as well. And she's, an amazing person, dude. She's, I think she's probably one of the things that does keep me, locked in a lot of times, because there is a lot of times I want to fucking give up. But, you see, you got someone that just, you got one person in your corner and it'll change your life.
Hell yeah.
And that's a big thing, man. And the other side, taking care of the mental is that, like, you've got to always be educating, right? I think that, you've got to be reading books, you've got to be listening to audibles, doing podcasts, like whatever it is, because if you're not educating and progressing yourself, if you're not consuming someone else's thoughts, then you're just sitting on your thoughts all the time. And that's a dangerous place to be. Right. And so for me, the way that I stay sharp is that if I'm in the truck, I got an audible book on. If I get up at 5 a.m, I'm reading a book. You know what I mean? I'm just constantly trying to educate and learn. And for me, it's like, by just taking care of myself a little bit, like, everything else is easy, because I'm taking care of. I fill my cup in the morning. And so no matter what happens throughout my day, it's like I can just give.
I love that. What do you do to fill your cup in the morning? Do you is it like a workout? Do you like sauna? Like, what's kind of like your morning routine look like?
Irish coffee. You put a little bit of whiskey in.
Get some, what's in an Irish coffee?
It's just straight coffee. I think
Guinness?
it's Bailey's, and then like I put
I guess there's
whiskey. You got to put whiskey in there. You know what I
You
mean?
gotta put whiskey in it.
Yeah.
For me in the mornings, man, I try to. And another thing, dude, is I think it's the commitments that you make to yourself, right? That's one thing that I've learned, is that everything is through certainty. So it's just figuring out, like, because whoever is the most certain person in the room is going to be the person that leads and creates the most impact in every room you go in. Whoever is the guy that is certain and not exuberant and not, conceited. It's just they're certain and they're confident that they know the direction they're going. People will gravitate towards that. And so I think that your morning routine, or, any kind of thing like that, is saying, like, what do you got to do to get certain? If waking up and pounding hot cup of coffee makes you fucking certain, then you should do that every fucking day. Right. And so for me, what I've found is, being able to if I set my alarm, I tell myself I'm getting up at 5:30, my shit goes off. You got to get up. Right. Because if you don't get up and you just snooze it and you wait till later, you're already telling your subconscious that you don't keep commitments to yourself. Mm. Right. And so in that moment, it's like I get up. Usually for me, I'll read first thing in the morning. I try to do like 10, 20 pages, chapter, whatever it is. Then from there, go to the gym, get a workout in. And then I'm usually in the office by, 8, 9 o'clock, and kind of starting my day. And really for me, like, that's all I need. I don't need a whole bunch. I just need to, fulfill the promise I made to myself in the morning, stick to the shit. And then kind of at the end of every day, what I do is I call it the 3 F's. And so I write down, 3 things I say, like focus, feel, focus, blanking again, focus, focus, fix, and feel. And so for me, like my 3 things, like, what am I focusing on tomorrow? Right. My fix is saying, all right, what are 3 things from today I wish would have went a little better? Right. I wish I could have fixed them. I'm not solving them. I'm just, like, being aware of it. And then the last is 3, your feel, and it's saying, like, what am I grateful for? Right. Being able to, while you're piled on and you're covered in the shit, it's being able to say, like, man, at one point I was sleeping in my truck. Now I got a podcast studio, and, I got all of these things, man. And so it's not nearly as bad as what you think it is a lot of times.
I don't think I have too much of a morning routine. I usually like to get a workout in the morning. I'll kind of plan out my day, like kind of what's happening throughout the day. I do a little bit of gratitude, kind of like what I'm grateful, kind of get myself in that right mindset. And then on my drive to the job site, I'll either listen to an Audible or a podcast. And I feel like those few things kind of get me in the right sort of zone for the day. Nothing too complex, but it's just enough to kind of grease the wheels and get it going.
And it doesn't have to. That's the thing. Like, nothing has to be complex. We think that complexity, is the thing to success. And it's like, it's simplicity, man. Like, if you can do that every morning, that's way better than doing a fucking ice bath and a fucking laying in the grass and then fucking meditating. It's like, it's just too much. You know what I mean? Like, do the couple things that, get you dialed in.
Sometimes, like, I'll scroll through Instagram trying to find, like, certain content to be posted for, like, businesses and all that. And I don't know if you guys ever heard of him, Ashton Hall. I don't know if you guys ever heard of him. He's this content creator, influencer, whatever. But he has his, like, whole entire morning routine where, like, it's the guy that he takes an ice bath, puts it to the face, and he's using sparkling water as like the water, like doing it. But he has this like whole entire routine. Like it's just funny because he just overcomplicates it all the time. He just does it for views. And going back to what you said about the whole simplicity thing, I'm like, Ashton Hall could probably like learn a thing or two from Mike McGovern.
Well, he's probably not doing all those shit on the day he done posted.
Yeah, I think that's it. But I'm not. I don't.
Right. Maybe he is. Good.
I don't judge, but it's all good. My morning routine is pretty simple. I usually wake up at like 4 o'clock in the morning. First thing I do, I pray. I have to pray first. And then I go downstairs, like wash my face, like do all that shit, and then pound a coffee, and then I just head to work. I put on like I put on like I'm a big classical music guy, so I love Beethoven. I love like Mozart. I love that shit.
Really?
Yeah, I'm a big.
This is news to me, bro.
I don't like telling people that shit. That's why, because a lot of people see me, they like they're like, I'm a big like alternative rock guy or like hip hop or something like that. But low key, I love classical music.
Wow.
That's good. I mean, there ain't nothing wrong with that, bro.
No,
you
dude.
should tell everybody about it, bro. Be you, man. Be your authentic self.
I think all the clips I'm going to post, I'm just going to put Beethoven Symphony 9.
Might hit.
It might hit. Classical music might be coming back.
It might be it, dude.
But going off that now. So you're an author. You have your book.
I released my first book.
Yeah. So it's not even out yet.
It's out. It's out.
Oh, it is out. Okay, so my New York
I
bestseller
released
times
it.
thing is going to work. Okay, beautiful.
I think it's like 10 days ago or something.
So it's just fresh.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So talk a little bit about that, man.
Yeah. Actually, I have I have a copy of it right here.
Oh, look at it, like right there. Homeowner Wealth, ladies and gentlemen.
Homeowner Wealth.
Now, that you wrote that all yourself, or?
Yeah.
No shit.
And I mean, you obviously use different softwares to clean it up and revise it and things like that. But yeah, I wrote the whole book, and really, man, it is a big picture. It's a fucking lead magnet. That's what it is, right? It's a way for me to get to my ideal clients to sell them roofs, like down to the bare bones of it. Like the reason I made it, created it, what the whole concept is really, when I came from real estate and got into roofing, right? I looked at real estate and it's like, what's the motto in real estate? It's buying a property, at a low cost, off market, whatever it is, being able to improve it, add equity to it, and then turn around and create an ROI from it, right? Like that, at the end of the day, that's what real estate investing is. And then I got into roofing, and it's like, it's really the same thing. Right, but no one really looks at it. Everyone looks at roofs as a cost, right? They don't look at it as an investment. But the thing is that we offer a lot of different financing services. We work with a lot of different financing partners, and that roof can really be the catalyst to a capital event, right? So it's saying, all right, well, if you need to get a roof on it, well, instead of just getting your roof, have you considered doing roofing, siding, gutters, windows? Right now, all of a sudden, you can bundle all that into a loan. Say you got $60,000, $70,000 into those improvements. Well, now you can take that, you can finance that over 15 years, right? So now you're paying a small payment, a small payment for that $70,000 rehab, and you're immediately getting 50, 60 to 90% ROI on your investment. It's no different than a real estate investor. It's like, so the whole book around it is really, I came up with a thing called the real value method. And the real value method is the way of showing homeowners how they can turn their home into, an investment vehicle, a wealth creating vehicle. And not just looking at it as, oh man, I got to get my roof replaced, but thinking like, oh man, I need my roof replaced. Well, I might as well bundle and roll these other things into it for a small payment. I can add $100,000 of equity to my home, and I'm only spending $600 a month on it.
Damn, I need to read this book, guy.
Dude,
Holy
it's good,
shit,
bro. Good, dude.
Send a couple copies to Massachusetts.
I will, bro. If you guys send me your address,
I'll send you everything. My PO box, everything. I'll send you everything I got. No, but that's really cool. One of my things is being an author too, but I would never know what to write. I would not know what to write, I think I talked about Alex one time about mental health because it's such an underrated thing, especially men's mental health and especially in our trade, like construction.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not talked about enough. But But then like, you know, you see it, it's like, oh shit, I gotta write all this shit. Like, you know, that's why I do podcasting, because I'd rather just talk. You know,
Yeah.
so
But I mean, the thing is, 2 minutes is that, you know, another reason with me writing this is that, dude, it's just credibility.
yeah.
If someone's like, when you say you wrote a book, how many books have you read that even if it was a shitty book, you didn't turn around and call the author and say, dude, terrible fucking book, why would you release this, right? You don't even give a shit. You just let it go. But the fact that you can say, you know, I have 30 of these sitting in my truck. So when I go to a homeowner's house, I'm like, oh, hey, like, here's a book I wrote as well. Let me know if you find any value of it. And guess what? If they read this book, by the time I come back for my consultation, they now know the process that I would want them to know, right? So I don't have to sit there and teach them and tell them. It's like I've already pre-framed them to understand the thing that I'm going to explain to them.
You sound very passionate about this, so this book must be really good, man.
It's good, man.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
good. You know, I like it. It's not my you know, grand slam by any means, but you know, I think that it's foundational. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Get something out, get it in the market. Because, dude, there's nothing more, like, just like you were saying, like it's, you know, putting a book together and releasing it to the public is kind of scary. It's intimidating.
It is.
You know what I mean? It's like everyone's what are they gonna judge me? You know what I mean? They're gonna read my stuff. What are they gonna think? What if it's shitty? What if there's not, like, you know? But you just gotta, like, fucking do it and get it out, and it always goes better than you thought it
That's
would.
the big thing too, where it's like the whole judgment thing, or like, you know, because, you know, we all on social media, we read the negative comments the other day. Like, I was reading negative comments the other day. I was sending them to Alex, like, oh man, I just want to roast him back so bad. But I knew that's what they want. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so how do you kind of deal with that? Like, the hate comments and negative comments,
Yeah.
you know? Like, do you,
Man.
I know you don't listen to them, I'm assuming, right? It doesn't really
Yeah.
faze you that much.
But it does, right? I think everything has a little truth to it, right? And so no matter what it is, no matter what they're saying, like, it does hurt. And I think it's just being able to understand that people that say negative things, they wouldn't want your life. And, you know, I don't want their life. And so, yeah, if what I do or what I say doesn't make sense to them, good. What you say doesn't really make sense to me, right? And so I think that's the biggest thing, is just understanding that, you know, we're all in our own journey, and, you know, whatever it is that they need to say to, you know, make them feel better and tear you down to make them feel better, you know, it's just words, man.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's being able to just, I got a lot of haters, dude. I've had thousands of them. You know what I mean?
But they hate you because you're so successful. Is it not?
I mean,
Or-
you know, I think it's just that, you know, people, a lot of times when you are chasing your dream and you're like putting yourself out there to be, you know, hated on, you know, that's bold, man. And that's the thing that most people look at, you know, if you're pushing yourself and trying and building things, they look at you as everything that they're not. Right. And they look at you as all those dreams that they gave up on. And so, you know, they're going to hate because they're jealous of it at the end of the day. Right. And even if they're not, there's something in there that's triggering them, because I couldn't tell. I've never, ever in my entire life jumped on social media and left a negative comment on somebody's feed. I don't have the fucking time for that. I ain't got the fucking, you know what I mean? Like, I got enough bullshit going on. Like, I heard this guy the other day was talking, and he was like, you know, he's like, if you, you know, if you get pissed off and lose your mind, like in traffic, and you're bitching and screaming at somebody, and it's like, you're wasting so much capacity, right? He's like, dude, he's like, if I'm out to dinner and I order a steak medium and they bring it back at medium rare, he's like, I'm just going to eat it. You know what I mean? He's like, I'm not going to go through, and I don't have the time and capacity for that, right? Same thing with your spouses. Like, if you're going home and looking for reasons to pick a fight and argue and do those things, it's like, I got enough bullshit going on and work and everything else that it's like, I don't even have the urge or want to even fight with anybody, to be negative to anybody. It's like, I'm just trying to stay in my lane, in the clouds, and positive.
What's funny, you mentioned about the whole driving thing. Obviously, up here in Boston, we have one of the worst traffic highways ever.
It's terrible
So
up there.
it may. I was like mentally laughing. I'm like, oh, the reason why like traffic is so bad because everyone's so angry. So that way traffic never moves because they're always so mad. And I'm like, that kind of makes sense now. So
It does, man. You know, and it's It's crazy.
Totally off topic, by the way. On the highway the other day, this was last Friday, Alex. On 93, a Tesla blew up, caught on fire and blew up. The electric battery, like, just fucking, and like,
Was anyone in it?
No, thankfully not. But the problem was, it was in the middle lane, and the fires were just going in between all the lanes. So, like, I shit you not, traffic was like backed up. All like at least 7 miles. People were underneath the tunnel, like parked, waiting. I'm like, oh my god! I got out just in time too, but I saw it on the news. I'm like, oh,
Holy shit!
I would have killed myself if I was just like sitting in that traffic all day, especially on the tunnel. The tunnel sucks. You're a CEO. You're a podcaster. You're an author. Now you have this non-profit organization, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Foster the. What is that all about? Buddy, yeah. First of all, I love it. You know, you're helping young people become leaders. I think that's honestly what young people need nowadays. But like, how did that all like came about? Was it like, you know, you had a story with like, you know, a young person, and it's like, you know, this kind of clicked. You know, like how did that all come about?
Yeah, man. You know, and just like I was kind of saying earlier, right? You're best suited to serve the past version of yourself.
Yep.
And you know that for me is really what Foster the Future is, right? I look at, you know, me growing up, I had, you know, parents had some drug and alcohol problems and, you know, rehabs, and my dad went to prison before. And, you know, there's just a lot of things that happened in my, you know, in my childhood. But like, I always had a roof over my head, right? So it was like, no matter what, like they still provided. And I look at what I was able to achieve and where I'm at in my life, right, man. And when I look around and like see these kids that, you know, don't have anybody at all, right? And it's like, I know how hard it was, and I still had a lot of good things in my life, even though those, you know, the struggles and stuff, and it built me, and it got me to where I am today. But it's like, man, imagine the kids that don't have anybody, man. They got no one out there to help them, no one out there to support them. And so Foster the Future is actually, it's focused on foster teens. So it's what we do is we try to find, you know, every year for Christmas, we'll buy a couple different foster families, you know, their Christmas, we'll support that for them. And then every year we will partner with like a distributor, so like an ABC, and like GAF, which is our shingle manufacturer. We'll partner with them and we'll donate a couple roofs a year to foster families that, you know, can't afford to get a roof on their house, right? It's like if it fails inspection or things like that. So we do that. And then, you know, the biggest part of it is what I'm kind of like, you know, building with it is to really create a, you know, a non-traditional education, you know, curriculum. Right. And so trying to find these kids that are in high school, that are in the foster system, that are going to be getting out, they're trying to figure out like, you know, what's next for them, to be able to use Foster the Future as kind of that, you know, the way to get them into like Columbus Roofing Company. We had a kid this year that we brought in, you know, he had no transportation, he had no job, super smart kid, but just his life was a mess, man. And so I brought him in, I got him a place to live, I got him a vehicle, you know, I brought him in, started paying him, you know, hourly. We're teaching him mentorship, we're teaching him sales, we're like really being able to get kids and bring it in, and like almost like our version of like a Big Brother system kind of work. You know, it's really just focused on those kids that, you know, they want to learn how to do it, man. And, you know, you don't need a college degree. You don't need all these things. I didn't go to college, right? And I was able to figure it out and build something. And so, you know, I think a lot of kids when they graduate high school, especially being like in the foster system, man, they've never really had anybody, you know, build them up, man. It's like, for me, my life changed when I had a mentor that saw a version of me that I couldn't see for myself. Right. And when he spoke that into me and shared me and, you know, gave me the path to success. Right. And, you know, let me plow that road myself. But dude, he painted a picture of someone that, you know, I didn't think I was, or didn't think I was capable of being, but like, I knew it was in there. And, you know, really for me, like that's what, you know, Foster the Future's focused on, is being able to help these kids that, you know, are intelligent, are bright kids that could have a great future. They just need a little bit of direction, man. And they just need someone to believe in them.
Well, That's awesome, brother. Hey, kudos,
Thanks,
kudos to you. Kudos, that we need more of that. You know what I mean? We need more like, guys like that where they're like, because you see it a lot nowadays, especially for like, young children. It's like they don't really have like
They got no one.
they got nobody.
And men are just becoming bigger pussies throughout.
Oh, 100%.
It's
That's
like, dude,
you
you don't see a lot of guys that are fucking real men, man. You know what I mean? And I think that's what we got to be, right? As home service and blue collar business guys, man. It's like, dude, we're the fucking dying breed.
Do you think like that's how we fix it? Is like guys that are like, how do we fix the weak leadership of these like young men? You know what I mean?
I think it starts to be helped by people in positions and that have platforms of lending a hand, man, going back and trying to, I mean, that's what, even for here at our company, it's like I focus so much on leadership and culture, but it's not just like business. It's like how to be a fucking man, you know what I mean? How to be a good person, how to take care of people, how to treat people. Like, it's just teaching people good qualities that have just diminished over the past decade.
Wow. Yeah, that's 100% true. And that's crazy too, Like,
it is crazy.
You see it a lot nowadays. It's like,
I think that's also the most exciting part of it, right? Is that it's like there's never been a worse time, but there's also never been a better time to pass up how many people, because you've got a bunch of half-ass slapdicks that are just doing whatever. Right? Versus like, dude, I want them as the competition, because I know I'll fucking eat them alive every time. And it's like, throw me in a corner with the majority of men in today's society, and I feel confident that I'm gonna come out.
That's 100% true. You get that fucking kind of match, 3-piece with a soda. I love it. I love that you're doing that, man. It's super essential that we like do that, So.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you guys.
All right, 2 more things before we let you go, Mike.
Right.
I'm gonna ask you this question, but you can answer it afterwards.
Okay.
And then we do like a rapid fire 10 questions. First thing that comes to your head. All right. So I'll ask you this question first. Okay. If there are 3 people in your like group, network, whatever, that you would want to see on this podcast, who would you nominate? Okay. We'll come back to that question after. I'll give you some time to think about that. Okay. And then I will do the rapid fire 10 questions. First thing that comes to your head. All right. Good?
Yeah,
all right, cool. All right. The worst advice you ever gotten in business?
Worst advice I ever got in business? Oh, man. That your people are a family, not a team. Right?
Oh, okay.
It's really easy to look at the people in your business like they're a family, and they're not. They're a team. Right? A sports team trades people. They're doing everything they can to build the best sports team, and it's really easy. Like, I had someone who's like, "Oh, dude, we're family," and it's like, "Dude, they ain't family. They ain't family."
All right,
They're a
all
team.
right. That's 100% true. What's one habit that made you dangerous?
One habit that makes me dangerous?
Yeah.
I mean, I think the commitment to commitments. Right? To me, that's a big thing. It's like, if you can commit to the shit you say you're going to do, like, and build that muscle of fulfilling what you tell yourself, that's a dangerous man.
Absolutely. Would you rather deal with a caring client or a lazy employee?
A caring client.
All right. Is it? I feel like I know the reason why too, because at least like
I'll make it right.
Yeah.
Give me the caring, man.
What's one red flag that from a hire that won't last?
Oh man, I think that if they tell you all the things you want to hear, right? A lot of times when you're interviewing people, if they're like too good, they're probably too good.
Okay. All right.
And I would say, like, I'll take somebody for compliance over experience.
Okay.
Right?
I like
be
that.
willing to put the work in. Be willing. I don't need you to know how to do it already. You probably got bad habits if you've already been doing it for a while, right? So let me teach you.
I like that. I like that a lot. If you're about to do a public speaking course in front of, like, let's say, like, I don't know, 50,000 people. You had to choose one song to walk out to. What would it be?
Oh man, dude, these are good questions. You're like, you're so random.
I know. They're not about.
I would say, man, probably
There's got to be at least one song.
Many Men by 50 Cent.
Yeah, that's a classic. Hell yeah, brother. That's a good one. That's a good one. I can totally relate to that one. All right. What's harder, a roof pitch or a podcast pitch?
Oh, roof pitch.
Yeah,
for sure.
100%, right?
100%.
Because pitching, anybody wants to come on Michael McGovern's podcast. Too legit wants to come on.
Not even all that. It's just, there's no money. I'm not trading money.
I gotcha. Yeah.
Makes it harder.
Gotcha. What's one tool or app you can't live without your business? Or can't live without in your business? Yeah.
ChatGPT.
Oh, that's a big one, right?
Dude, I use ChatGPT every day. I'm on that shit. I'll spend 6 hours on ChatGPT.
Me too, buddy. Me too. Until it tells me the free subscription's all done.
Man, you don't pay for
listen. I'm in the process. Don't pressure me. I will do it in one day. But yeah, I love ChatGPT, man. Oh my god, like especially if you know how to use it right. Oh, game changer. Game changer. A lot of people hate it on it though. They're like, "Oh, you use ChatGPT."
Just don't want to learn.
Yeah, that's the problem. That's the problem. All right. You got 24 hours. You got a whole day off. You got your Sunday or Saturday, whatever you like. What's your escape move? What are you doing that day?
Well, if it's a Sunday, man, I would say I like to get up early.
Yep.
Get my reading in and get a little grounded. Probably walk out in the backyard, hit the golf club around a little bit in the bare feet. Then go to church. Right, I go to church every Sunday. It's a very important thing to me. From there, it's taking the girl to go get breakfast or brunch. Then get a little workout in.
Workout after brunch? Holy shit, dude.
Yeah. Well, you got to get that you got to get moving again.
Yeah.
You'll just be sleepy all day. And then maybe get like a round of golf in if I can. I definitely don't golf enough. And then, dude, I love just like reading. You know what I mean? Like I love to just be able, if I could just sit around and just read a book all the fucking time, like that. I loved like trainings or reading. It's just I really enjoy like education a lot.
You're not a big TV guy, I'm assuming, right? You don't really.
No. I've been watching Love Island with the girl.
Oh my god, dude.
But she forces me. Man.
Yeah. That's what they all say. That's what they all, until they get really intrigued. Like right now, my wife's watching the Spanish soap opera. I have no idea what the fuck they're saying, but I'm still watching it. I'm like, yo, this is really good.
Crazy.
All right. One CEO or entrepreneur that you respect that people sleep on. Obviously, we know about the Gary V's.
So I would say Ryan Niddel.
Okay.
Ryan Niddel. Yep. He is the owner of Mitt 45. If Mitt 45's Kratom. It's a Kratom company.
Okay.
But yeah, he's my mentor, and he's probably the most intelligent person that exists that I've ever met. And I mean, he'll be like they're doing a bunch of stuff on some like crypto stuff. I mean, he will sell a company for over $1 billion within the next probably 5 to 6 years.
Oh wow.
Yeah. He's not really on social. He's he like stays low key, but dude's got 4 Rolls Royces, a couple G-Wagons.
Damn.
Oh yeah, bro. He's probably got $3 million in watches. Like he's got a jet. He owns his own jet.
Damn.
He'll fly me and him to Chicago and shit here and there. It's just
Hell yeah, brother.
Cool. Yeah.
I love
but
that.
He's definitely slept on. He's just not loud, so people don't hear about him.
Yeah. So like he just
unbelievable guy.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm gonna have to look him up. All right. Last one. All right. Finish the sentence. If you're not building a brand in 2025, you're
fucking up.
100%, dude. Oh man, what a time to be alive and build a brand. Because like everybody's got one of these. They're just looking at these constantly.
And that's free. You ain't got to spend no money to put that shit out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you run ads, you run marketing. It's like all that costs money, man. Content don't cost nothing.
Nah, dude. Especially 100%. Like the organic content.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, Alex, you want some questions too, buddy? I can do some questions.
Chaga, you've been killing it, man. I'm just kind of in the passenger seat watching you do your thing, brother.
Hey,
Been
brother,
good, bro.
we are having so much fun, man. All right, so we're coming back to the three people that you would want to love, that you nominate. And we're gonna use this. We're gonna tag him in it, and we're gonna be like, "Listen, Michael McGovern from Columbus, Ohio, said like he wants to see you on the pod, so we're gonna make this happen."
So do you guys, are you more focused, like, it's kind of home services, construction, the ideal person?
Yeah, I would say, right, Alex? Yeah, you know.
Yeah, we've done a little bit of real estate folks too, but yeah,
Okay.
definitely more of the blue collar trades, construction world.
So I got a buddy, his name is Ryan Gibson. I think he would be good, man. He owns a bunch of Airbnbs.
Oh, okay,
That might
that's
be-
pretty cool.
Yeah, so that might be, I know he's got probably over 100 doors.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so I think he would be a cool guy for you. Terry Summers would be another one. Terry owns probably 300 rental properties in Columbus. He's like he's probably top 3 of the largest single family businesses or land, management companies, I would say, in the city. And Terry's got a podcast. And he's a fucking character. He would be a good guy for you. Good. I got a good friend of mine. I mean, he doesn't have a huge social media platform, but he would definitely be a good interview. Would be Michael McKinley. He owns it's Visionary Roofing. It's out of Columbus as well. So he would potentially be a good one for you guys. Let me try to think here. What's another? Oh, I know what. Nick Royer. Nick Royer. He owns a roofing company out of Texas.
Oh, okay.
Really good friend of mine. That might be a good, that's really a whole different market for you guys, right? So and I'm sure he would jump on, run a virtual call with you guys. Dude, he's one of my best friends. Great guy. His company's doing like 30-40 million a year. So he's fucking, way bigger than me.
It's good. Well, everything's bigger in Texas. That's it. Everything's bigger in Texas.
That's it. But yeah, I think he would be a good one, and I can easily and for whatever you need me to do to kind of set those things up, more than happy to put you guys on Texas with those guys, or whatever it is.
Absolutely.
Hell yeah, man.
Alex, you got any? Go ahead, Alex. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just going to ask, you guys were just cooking, so I like to kind of just like be off to the side a little bit. But Mike, it seems like a big part of your growth and like kind of where you got to today kind of came from mentorship and coaching. Is there anything you can kind of give advice to the audience on finding a good mentor? Like, how would you go about, if you didn't have your current mentor, how would you go about finding one, finding a good coach, finding someone kind of get you to that next level of where you want to be at?
Yeah, man, that's a great question, man. I think in anything, you have to start with the end in mind, right? So often we're reactive and compulsive to like the moment, and, no different whether it's a business or it's a mentor or, dude, it's finding your wife, right? It's like, what's the end result look like? Where do you want to be? What does the end of the road looks like? Because just by creating that, destination, our brains will naturally create the reality to get us to that point as long as we stay to it, right? Mm-hmm. And so for me, like just with a mentor, it's the same thing. It's like, what are the qualities that you want to improve on, right? You as an individual, what are the things that you need to get better at? Because then you want to go find that mentor that's really good at those things, right? Mm-hmm. Or who has done those things. Or if you want to grow a roofing business, go find a guy that is in alignment with you as a roofing owner and go pay him and learn from him, right? Mm-hmm. And so I think that that's the biggest thing, is like really mapping out of like, where do I want to be? Who do I want to become? Who do I need to get in front of in order to become or achieve that, right? Mm-hmm. And then to find them, I think you got to be willing to do shit for free. Right? So many motherfuckers want paid for everything these days, man. There's so much fucking entitlement where it's like, when I was getting in business, man, when I was doing real estate, I was running inspections, checking properties out, working for free on the job. Like, I would do anything to just learn from somebody that's doing it. Mm-hmm. Right? And, really good mentors, like, yeah, you can pay them money, but a lot of times, like, dude, be willing to fucking make nothing. Be willing to go help and add value and give somebody your time without having to think you deserve something or you're owed something from it, right? And that was really for me with my mentor, man. Like when I found him, I was just a squeaky wheel, man. Like I found him on social media. I was like texting, like DMing him, messaging him, all these things. Finally, he's like, "What the fuck you want, kid?" Like, dude, he was like on I think Facebook or some shit, and he was talking about business and like psychedelics and like bodybuilding, and I'm like, this is the fucking guy that I want to be like. This guy's cool as shit, and changed my life though, man. I mean that he really changed my life, and he's still he's probably the first person in my life that I felt like, no matter how big I fucked up or did great, like there was never judgment. You know what I mean? Like it was a person that there's nothing other than our friendship. Like I can't provide value to him, right? He's a multi-millionaire, right? There's nothing that I can give him from a standpoint of that is valuable to him. But it's like, great mentors, they want to give and help people that want to, work and learn and grow. And it's like, be willing to put that time and energy in way before you're getting paid for it.
Holy shit. We're at the end. Alex, you have any last minute?
That was my burning question, man. I feel like just listening to Mike's story, it's really evident to me from his like hockey journey to where he's at now. It's coaching and education has been such a big part of where he's gotten to today. And I want to ask that question just kind of selfishly for myself, but also I think for the audience, it's important to know like people can get you from point A to point B. To Mike's point, if you're willing to do things for free and show up humbly and respectful, they can kind of show you the ropes,
For sure, man. It is just knowing that everything fucking takes time, bro. Mm-hmm. Everybody wants shit so fast when they all want to be a millionaire tomorrow. And it's just like, dude, it don't work like that. It takes 10 years to become an overnight success, right? Like, and that's just what it is, man. And the faster that you can tap into knowing that, like, you can't skip it. There is no shortcuts. There is no easier way, right? The obstacle is the way. And the quicker that we can understand that and we just go into the storm, go into the obstacle, the faster we get to the other side of it. And it's just like, just know that, man, like I thought I figured it all out, 2 years into business. And then I'm like, yeah, I didn't know anything. You know what I mean? I'm like, every year I'm like, God, I fucking thought I'm way dumber than I thought I was.
It's a very humbling thing, business, right?
It is, man. It is. It's like, I always say it, my girl's always like, I don't understand how you can just like work all the time and all you do is work. Like I go in the office on the weekend and you got 20 guys in there, everyone's working. Like how, doesn't make sense to me. And I'm like, because it's the evolution of you, what I mean? Like the more that you understand about business and marketing and all of business is such a testament to the individual that you're becoming. Right. It's like, to me, it's like everything in your past is evidence of what you've been through. Right. It's your fucking step sheet, man. And so it's like that's everything, dude. It's like you being able to have commitments and focus and the things that matter in business, like they only go into your life. How you do one thing is how you do everything. And, when people can understand that, it's like business is amazing because it like literally lets you grow.
Yeah.
I love that. I do have one more question though, just since we're on that topic. So you've gotten to today and all the accolades that Tiago's mentioned, and we've kind of gone over through the podcast. What does kind of the future look like for you? What do you want to achieve? Is there another business that you want to get into? Talk to me about that.
Man, I think for me, I really want to get into like the M&A space, right? So mergers and acquisitions. My goal for CRC is being able, over the next 2 to 3 years, really, dialing it in, turning it really into a scalable playbook, and then start acquiring other roofing companies. Eventually get to the point where, we're like the private equity company, right? I want to get to the point where I can raise enough money or whatever it is that, we can be the platform to go acquire and grow. And I can take what I do in my business and buy 10 more of them and roll that into them and, really, create something powerful, right? Mm-hmm. And so for me, it's like, that's kind of I would say like, as far as the business side is like really scaling that and growing that. And then the other side, man, is like, I love like speaking. I love doing the podcast. And so, would love to get to the point where that becomes, a majority of where my time is spent, being able to do that. And then with the, with Foster the Future, being able to really turn that into a, like almost like a school one day, right? Like a Foster the Future University or a CRC University, right? And being able to, become that vehicle where we can help all these kids come in, and really give them an opportunity in a life and be donating, a roof a month, right? It's to me, that's the big thing, man. Like I always said, I'd like to do a roof in every state, partnered with a contractor and donate it to a foster family, right? And I think like that's something that is a big thing for me.
Hell yeah.
I love that, man.
I love that. I love that so much, man. Oh my God, this episode's going to be fucking amazing.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, Mike, you're the man. Any last minute plugs you want to give out real quick?
Just go to Amazon.com, check out Homeowner Wealth. If you buy it, check it out, leave a review if you like it. Just give us some insight. And then, man, if any of the listeners, ever want to connect, learn more. I coach, home service owners as well. So other guys in the roofing space, anywhere between 500 to 5 million a year, is kind of my sweet spot. And so, if anyone ever needs help, resources, that's a spot. But Amazon.com, Homeowner Wealth.
And where can people find you, Mike? Is there like a...
Yeah. So IG is probably the easiest way. And you can get me it's at Michael McGovern, RCEO.com. Or not .com. Sorry. McGovern, RCEO.
We'll put it right there for everyone's viewing pleasure. All right. Oh man, that I've obtained so much knowledge today. I'm definitely gonna. The next time we're gonna go to Columbus, Ohio. I don't know when that's gonna be, Alex. We're gonna go see Michael McGovern. We are gonna do an in-person podcast.
Yeah,
at the Reckless CEO studio as well, man. Guys, make sure you get that book from Michael McGovern as well. Check out his podcast, the Reckless CEO podcast. If your roof is leaking in Columbus, Ohio, give this man a call as well. Mike, first, I want to thank you so much for your time and for your knowledge and everything that you've brought to the table today, man. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on, man.
Appreciate you guys, man. Thanks for staying on me.
Hang on. Before we go, one last time. OH.
IO.
Oh, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, Michael McGovern. Well, I'm Tiago. That's been Alex. That's Michael. We'll see you guys next time.